Well, at least it's over. The game that just about everybody thought should have featured the Saints is done. And in this town, let's face it, the Super Bowl wasn't super. You can't deny that what happened here at the Superdome 2 weeks ago robbed the Saints of their chance at glory. And for as long as Who Dat Nation has a memory, this season will have a big fat asterisk on it.
So what can we do about that no call? We've seen the billboards, the lawsuits, and the NFL try to explain the inexplicable. So today, instead of giving the satisfaction of their support, the black and gold faithful in ways big and small sent a message that the Who Dat Nation won't forget, and perhaps more importantly, won't quit. Our coverage of the game, the protests, and that lingering thought of what could have been begins with Kristen Pierce.
All week, we heard people talking about boycotting the Super Bowl. Well, today, they followed through on those plans. Thousands of people were out here today at the Boycott Bowl on Fulton Street. Right now, crews are packing up, but we're going to show you what it looked like earlier. Across the country, it's Super Bowl Sunday, but in New Orleans, it's Boycott Bowl.
I'm not watching it. I'm just not watching it because it wasn't fair.
And in case you were wondering, are you still mad?
Yeah.
Saints fans are still upset about that no call in the NFC Championship game. Today they took out their frustrations on a referee piñata, the NFL Commissioner Roger Goodell, and pretty much the entire NFL.
Great idea because it did allow me to take frustration out and laugh and get it all out.
Hoorah, baby! And although Saints fans would rather be in Atlanta with the boys in black and gold, this is New Orleans and we do things differently.
It almost feels just like an overrun jazz fest and Mardi Gras combined into one.
I'm mad about the Saints no call. I think they shouldn't have called that flag, but we all have to get over it, you know. We didn't see anything, no!
Thousands of people put on their Sunday's best, which is Saints gear, and headed to Fulton Street for Boycott Bowl. Mayor LaToya Cantrell and City Councilwoman Helena Moreno joined the party, and it was a huge party. In the end, some of Who Dat Nation ended up watching the game.
Yeah, you know. My friend's a Cowboys fan, so we had to watch football.
We were never going to boycott, but we're still robbed!
But the overall feeling in the Crescent City is NFL, nah. And Karen and Tana, I have to say, when we went to the Rusty Nail, we talked to people who said they are not going to watch the Super Bowl at all. But when we went back later on, the game was on and everyone was watching it. So it will be interesting to see how many people actually watch the Super Bowl. Reporting live at Ernst Cafe, Kristen Pierce, Eyewitness News.
And earlier today, thousands of Saints fans filled Jackson Square to boycott the Super Bowl. The so-called Blackout and Gold second line celebrated the Saints and their season.
And Saints fans buried this season with a mock funeral. Fans in uptown New Orleans threw their tickets into a coffin at Kingpin, then held a second line. There was also a similar funeral along the riverfront. And over on Magazine Street, people played Pin the Bribe on the Ref at Dat Dog. And on the lakefront, it was a car show showing the love for the Saints. The party seemed to cover the entire city. Never have been more proud to be a part of Who Dat Nation.
Yes.
On the North Shore, the Saints became a sermon illustration drawing some familiar parallels.
It included themes of love, reconciliation, and yes, even God's feelings about Roger Goodell. Paul Dudley brings us the story.
What the Saints mean to us really transcends sports.
If you ask Father Bill Miller at Christ Episcopal Church in Covington, he'll tell you, in our state, the Saints represent more than football.
The Saints represent some very powerful things: resurrection, rebirth, reconciliation, hope, healing, goodness.
This Who Dat Nation repping man of God will also tell you when the Saints got robbed by the refs 2 Sundays ago, it felt like someone punched him in the gut. He wasn't alone in this feeling.
I was in an airport in Austin, Texas, with all these New Orleanians flying back to New Orleans, and we were stunned. It was a completely silent Southwest flight.
This special service Sunday offered Saints prayer flags instead of penalty flags and Saints-themed songs. But more Moreover, the no call is a teaching moment.
Anger, grief, depression, whatever they might be, it's really important for us to channel those and take the high road.
And in this house of worship, it's still all about love.
And I actually conclude my sermon by reminding them of the most inconceivable religious truth of all, that God loves Roger Goodell. Hard to believe, but it's true.
Jokes aside, it's advice to live by on a Saints Sunday, a Super Bowl Sunday, a regular Sunday, and how about just every day?
The only way forward and onward and upward is through love.
Paul Dudley, Eyewitness News.
And now this. Boston celebrating championship number 6. We've been watching these pictures since the game ended, and frankly, New Orleans seemed to have much more fun today.
You think the Super Bowl itself was not dynamic?
No, it wasn't. The Patriots and the Rams combined for 1 touchdown, and obviously New England came out and claimed its 6th Super Bowl title. Sports director Doug Mouton joins us now with more on that.
Yeah, look, you watch the pictures from around New Orleans today, and look, in Boston they've won 6 of them, so it does get to be a little bit of this after a certain time. But yeah, if you picked this game to not watch, you picked the perfect Super Bowl to miss. The first half was just hard to watch, and then in the fourth quarter, New England did just enough to win their 3rd championship in the last 5 years. Tonight we saw a whole lot of punting, and then that, Tom Brady to Rob Gronkowski. It set up the go-ahead touchdown. It was 10-3 Pats. Then Jared Goff with this terrible pass at a key time. Stephon Gilmore intercepts. New England got a clinching field goal. The Patriots win it 13-3.
I was not pleased at all with my feel for the flow of the game and kind of making some adjustments as the game unfolded and to giving ourselves a chance to have some success and put some points on the board. And, you know, credit to them, and they did a good job, and I certainly didn't do good enough for us.
It is incredible. Belichick and Brady now have 6 Super Bowl championship rings. And good news for the Saints today, the team is close to locking up a key assistant coach. We'll have that ahead in sports. Karen?
All right, Doug, thank you. Next year's Super Bowl is in Miami, and then in 5 years, the Super Bowl will be played right here in New Orleans at the Superdome. You can say it's a little foggy tonight, but our memories aren't. Who Dat Nation will never forget this season, but we will move on more determined than ever. But for now, with the season at an end, we want to say one last time, bless you, boys.
Another big story we're following tonight, still no word on what caused an apartment fire that burned 2 firefighters. The fire burned through the DeLyman, Place condos in East Jefferson Parish yesterday. Firefighter Dan Ziegler fell through the roof. Crews rushed him to the UMC burn unit with 2nd and 3rd degree burns. His condition is stable tonight. Another firefighter was treated for burns to his fingers. The fire forced 100 people out of their homes. Within the last week, we learned about 5 New Orleans area men arrested on child pornography charges. The common link in the case is the internet. State officials are working hard to arrest suspects like these, and there's an unlikely group with a similar mission.
Well, a group of moms from the North Shore is taking their brand of justice to the world. Investigative reporter Katie Moore now joins us with an exclusive report. And Katie, how does this all work?
Well, this group, it's a small group of mothers, like you mentioned. They are the Southern Mothers Against Predators, or SMAP, and they're broadcasting confrontations with people they suspect are child predators live on Facebook. It raises all kinds of questions. And last month, one of those confrontations looked a little something like this.
What's up, y'all? Okay. He says he's here, so he's sitting in his car. All right, I got him to come around. Let's see if he'll get out.
You're watching a sting operation set up and executed by moms. Holly is the creator of the Southern Mothers Against Predators Facebook page and private Facebook group. She asked us not to use her last name. The page has more than 6,000 followers, and many of them were watching this last month when she confronted a man who had been messaging with one of SMAP's decoys, an adult posing as a teenage girl.
Look, what, you don't want to talk to me? Who are you here to meet? You're exposed, dude. I have your pictures, I have your chat logs, everything.
Chat logs, screenshots of virtual conversations between a person SMAP sees as a potential predator and a decoy.
We have to play the role of a child. So when they ask things like, you know, different sexual innuendos per se, you know, when they say different things, we don't know. We play dumb. We play dumb, and we're like, what's that?
And we still come after you.
And they still come.
SMAP has no ties to law enforcement. It is a group of concerned mothers looking to expose would-be predators to the community before children become prey.
Okay, this is a sting operation. We're Southern Mothers Against Predators.
Some of the men sit and talk to Holly.
How old did she tell you she was?
She said she's almost 16.
One hid.
I'm not law enforcement.
Then he took off.
Goes, y'all. 14 years old. He likes kids.
And sometimes they admit it.
Think that she was 15 years old. Wrong or right?
Right.
Since they began last spring, Holly says SMAP has confronted 8 men on Facebook Live.
Are you a vigilante?
No, not a vigilante.
You knew I was going to ask that question.
I knew you were going to ask that question. We don't break the law.
They use a variety of messaging and gaming apps, some that show where the decoy is so that would-be predators think there's a chance to meet. It's shocking to see how easy it is to do.
We're going to try this on Whisper. 1, 2, just contacted. Yeah.
Literally.
Literally a minute.
With just one post to Whisper, in less than an hour, 65 people messaged Holly saying they wanted to chat. And when they were told they were talking to a teenage girl, a handful of them said they didn't care, and they continued to chat.
This phone will go off all night long.
Holly posts some of her decoys' chat logs on Facebook, like these with a man we will call John. Thinking he was talking to a 15-year-old girl, John describes the sex acts he wanted to do to the girl. Then Holly says he sent photos, something she says happens a lot.
All kinds of photos. All kinds.
Like what?
What can I say on here?
Holly says John sent these photos to her decoy and asked to meet.
I'm going to walk into the store. And see if I see him.
Holly and her team were waiting.
Do I know you? No, I don't know you. There he is, guys. 15-year-old little girl.
The video of the exposure spread like wildfire on Facebook. That's how this woman found out about it. She was John's girlfriend at the time.
Didn't know how to react. I was just broke down. I was upset and curious about who these people were.
SMAP says its public shaming is an effective deterrent, but in John's case, his girlfriend and their child were collateral damage.
I stayed home for a long time. I didn't go anywhere. I was afraid to.
She says she has caught John chatting with other women online in the past, never underage girls.
Do you think you ever would have known about him and what he was doing if it wasn't for this group?
That's a 50-50 chance. You know, I've caught him with everything else that he's done. At the same time, he got better at hiding things, you know.
Ultimately, it was their decision to come there. It was their decision to talk to a child, to be sexual with a child, to groom a child, to meet a child with intent to have sex.
Computer-aided solicitation of a minor is a felony in Louisiana, and anyone convicted of it is required to register as a sex offender. But law enforcement has not made any arrests for sex crimes based on SMAP's exposures. St. Tammany Sheriff spokesman Captain Scott Lee says they are aware of the group, but they and other law enforcement officers are leery of the evidence gathered by predator hunter groups like SMAP.
You have to be very careful in how you conduct that investigation because, of course, you want it to go all the way to the prosecution phase.
Corey Bourgeois manages the computer forensic lab at the Louisiana Bureau of Investigation under Attorney General Jeff Landry. They have 6 full-time investigators dedicated to rooting out child predators and child porn. And since 2016, they've made 330 arrests.
Leave law enforcement to law enforcement. Your hearts are in the right place, and we love what you're doing, but there are dangers that it poses.
Both to the cases they might build against predators and to the hunters themselves. Law enforcement can do background checks on suspects. SMAP can't.
You know, there is a huge safety issue and risk at this, and we totally understand that, you know. But as a parent and as a concerned citizen, you know, I feel like I feel the need, you know, to do something about this.
Holly says the risks are worth it, that even without prosecution, the exposure may lead the men to stop doing it.
I'm definitely not doing this again.
You're not doing it again? So I'm not going to see you on those apps again?
Maybe looking for someone over 18.
Over 18, okay.
Groups like SMAP are popping up around the world.
Yeah, if I was inappropriate, I apologize.
You're out here to help a 15-year-old little girl. After telling her in chat logs you want to have sex with her and all this other
Without law enforcement involved, you could argue the exposures are simply a public shaming, with some of the groups violating Facebook's policies aimed at combating cyberbullying.
This is our 14th page. We keep getting deleted and taken down.
Facebook has taken pretty much every group's site down at least once.
But not SMAP's.
I hope that the group can find a way to do the things that they do in a way that they can work with police, work with people who know what they're doing and make it legal and help prevent other people from getting more hurt.
While she's passionate about what she's doing, Holly doesn't decoy herself anymore.
You make me cry. I couldn't imagine my children or anyone else's children reading some of the things that we have read. Emotionally just wrecks you, especially if you've been a victim yourself.
She didn't want to explain, but Holly says she was a victim when she was a teenager.
Listen to me before you walk off. Just hear me out.
Once prey, now a hunter.
Do you want it better for you?
Now, in case you're wondering, we blurred the faces of those men because they have not been officially charged or convicted of any crime. And a spokesperson for Facebook told me, quote, "We want people to use Facebook and our products to raise awareness about threats to public safety, including those who may pose harm to children. However, we do not want people to use Facebook to facilitate vigilante violence. That's why we have policies against threatening real-world harm and to protect people's privacy if they're being publicly shamed. We will remove content that violates these policies whenever it's reported." Karen and Ton?
Such a powerful report.
Thank you.
Katie, thank you. If you have a news tip for our team of eyewitness investigators, you can email it to eyewitness@wwltv.com. So much more to get to tonight, including what may be the most interesting sports game of the day.
We're talking about the Pupper Bowl. We're going to show you the non-Super Bowl fun coming up.
And we're back to reality tomorrow. Your local weather expert, Alexandra Cranford, walks you hour by hour through your Monday morning.